All right, wonderful people. So we won't keep y'all too much long. I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes for anyone else who is going to join us. Thank y'all for. I was gonna say dialing in, but it's not really a dial-in per se. Again, I know I've been getting some emails from some of you just about like some things the chapter might be doing, as well as what's going on with national. I see Dorothy, our national president, Dorothy Tucker, has popped in, and so if you have questions, you can put it in using the Q&A option at the bottom of your screen. That way I'll be able to see it and I can answer you directly. But we do have just like a small agenda that's going to go down and hit some things, some of the kind of top line items, just to kind of give you all an idea of like some of the support that we might be able to put together to support different folks that are impacted by the coronavirus. Hello, Keith. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started with our
also,
little agenda.
Before you do, Travell, make sure that people know that there's a Q&A feature that is separate than the chat feature. So, FYI.
Oh. Yes. Hello, Lois. Sky, great. You can hear us now. Wonderful. Keith. And so, yeah, again, for those who just popped in, there's a chat function if you want to communicate just with like everyone about things that you're hearing. There's also a specific Q&A function if you have specific questions for me or any of the other board members. I'm just gonna kind of give a quick update on chapter stuff. As you all know, we didn't have our March meeting because of the entire coronavirus situation, but at the end of February, we did elect some new members and re-elect members to our board. Brittany, of note is Brittany Lloyd. She is our new treasurer. As well as we have Margot Spann, Larry Leach, Shar Jossell, I'm forgetting somebody, and Jana. They all are new board members joining some of the past board members that were reelected. Lois was reelected, some other folks. You can go to our website, nabjla.org/about to see that new full board and get everyone's information. Again, let us be a resource with you in these particular times. Because we don't know how long this all is going to go, we won't be having in-person meetings until the coast is clear. And so one of the things that we want to try to do is kind of these digital check-ins, these digital webinars and events for our chapter members, just kind of, keep us in touch with each other and also make sure that we're just able to support you all during all of this. We've seen how coronavirus is impacting a lot of the media industry. There have been layoffs all over the place. There have been furloughs all over the place. For those of us who are freelancers, we know that some of the money is drying up in terms of freelancing. And so first and foremost, encouraging everyone, if you are career-wise impacted or otherwise impacted by the coronavirus, COVID-19, and you need some sort of support, let us know, reach out to me, reach out to Jared or any of the other board members. Let us know what type of support we might be able to provide for you, both on a local level and potentially on a national level. I can, connect with Dorothy and Drew and see. I know that they're working on some support systems for members, so stay tuned to that for those who are national members as well. Where's my agenda? Because I'm rambling. So we want to just make sure that we are a support system and a resource for you all, for those who need it, in terms of career impact and things like that. As it relates to that, we do, and Jared, I'll let you speak to this momentarily. As we said, we want to open it up to you all for the different types of resources that we might be able to put together in this digital webinar format. And so if you have any type of ideas you want to start contributing ideas in terms of different panel discussions that we might be able to do or other services, feel free to drop that into the Q&A spot or the comment spot, the chat function. Additionally, one of the things that we are currently doing is because some people have been affected by the layoffs and furloughs and just money drying up, we're working with our USC chapter, student chapter, and we're doing some work with them, some digital work with them, just kind of helping prepare their students. And for those of you who have read in the newsletter as well as seen on social media, we are offering kind of student resume reviews by members of our board who, when you look on the website, you'll see we have publicity members, we have kind of traditional journalism members, comms folks on the board. And so we're going to be, Jared actually came with this suggestion to broaden that out to our member base as well. Perhaps you haven't had to look for a job in 10 years and then coronavirus is affecting, your career options and you need to spruce up your reel or spruce up your resume. If you're interested in that service, you can send us your information for review to the NABJ email. That's NABJLAofficial@gmail.com. And we'll get you some feedback from different members on the board that might be able to help you and support you as you go forward. So before we get to you, Jared, I do want to give a quick update on the national convention. I've gotten some emails from you all about the status regarding that. What I can say is that, as Dorothy's emails and Drew's emails over the past couple of weeks have shown you, as of now, they're still pushing forward with the planning of the national convention. It's set for early July, and right now that date is outside of a lot of the restrictions that have been put in place, both on the local and federal level in the DC area. But they are, I've been, told by Drew directly that they are keeping a close eye on it. They are monitoring it. And in the event that, the organization must cancel, they will cancel. But in terms of, as you all know, we have that room block that we reserve for 10, we have 10 rooms that we reserve for, specifically for members of our chapter. And some of you have reached out about that. If you are still interested, we are still, populating that particular room block. I believe there's about 5 or so rooms that still haven't been claimed yet, or interest hasn't been expressed yet. You can contact me directly, anderson.travell@gmail, to get more information about the rules and the setup for that. I have been assured by Drew that, in the event that the convention does have to cancel, provisions will be in place to support members who have already, put down, their deposits. And so you don't have to worry about losing out on money if you are, proceeding, under the impression that the convention will happen, and it unfortunately doesn't happen. And so stay tuned for any other updates. They'll come in the national NABJ newsletter, which you should be getting automatically if you are a member of the national organization. Otherwise, I will be kind of copy and pasting, providing those same updates into our newsletter. And so you should be able to stay up to date with all of that particular information. Let me see here. There's a quick question.
Dorothy was saying to let people know that if we do end up having to cancel the convention, for those of you that buy into the block of rooms that we have our local cutoff date, which is May 1st, for you to be able to sign up for those rooms, so that we can cancel them in time to be able to get the money back. But if the cancellation of national does happen after the cutoff date comes from the hotel, it is our understanding that, and Dorothy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's our understanding that if national is canceled post that date, we'll make sure that everyone can get their money back for their respective rooms. So as he said, we have 10 rooms. We have 5 that are still still available for people to sign up for. We're going to kind of hold that money instead of like paying it in, since we're all kind of unsure. We've already paid for it ourselves. And so Dorothy's saying that we're about to announce that any member who has been impacted by COVID-19 will have their membership extended by 6 months, which will be a great thing, since obviously that's that's an expense. So we're grateful to the national organization for that. But she's saying that you will still get your money back, and that we'll have plenty of time to be able to pivot if we need to, for the sake of the national organization. Also want to acknowledge, I see Manny here has a question in the chat that says, is there a place or fund that we can donate to this support system for members impacted? I think what I'm hearing you saying is like, do we have a fund or something that we can maybe aid members that are impacted by COVID-19 and layoffs or something like that? We don't have something like that set up right now. However, if that's something that the membership is interested in, it's something we can definitely talk about. Looking ahead to the summit, like I don't have like an official thing to say about the summit that we were planning, but chances are we're probably not going to be able to have the summit, at least not in the time that we had initially planned on having it this year. And so we will have to kind of figure out what that looks like for us based upon how things continue throughout the rest of the year, for our venue, for our organization, and for the country. So, and more specifically LA. But that was a major source of income for us. So we can kind of figure out how we could maybe set up some kind of a fund or something to help out members. That's something that.
Jared, can I just jump in?
Go ahead.
Dorothy mentioned that on the national level, there is a Each One Reach One program that encourages members who are able to contribute to a fund that supports those who are impacted. So if you are interested in supporting that on the national level, that's available on the website, nabj.org, and you can get that information. Again, in terms of what Jared was saying on the local level, we don't really have anything set up. And part of that is because while I've had some individual conversations with members who have been impacted, we don't yet know the extent of anyone who is the extent, I should say, of the entire organization in terms of impact. And so if some of you have been negatively impacted, by it, again, feel free to reach out to me directly or Jared directly. That way we can figure out what type of support and resources that we might be able to, put your way, especially because this is a time period in which, so many things are up in the air. Manny mentioned, he's like, if anyone knows of any writing opportunities, send a flag up. As always, any opportunities that come my way or come the organization's way, we put them into the newsletter. I do suggest that you follow our Twitter page at NABJLA official. Only because lately, at least, we've been doing a lot of retweeting of different freelance opportunities, whether it's video, whether it's, written word, that you might be able to take advantage of, in terms of, just being able to support yourself through those specific things.
Luis is asking for more information on the summit. So the summit is not canceled. We've not stopped the summit or anything, but we are just kind of, aware of the fact that there might have to be a change in the date or the venue or something like that. Travell was pointing out to me earlier this week that a lot of events are getting moved to October, since they're not being able to happen in the spring and probably not in the early summer. So it's something that we're having to look at possibly changing. Like I said, I don't have any official word on what that's going to look like just yet, but I would say it's highly possible that we will have to move the summit to a different time of the year, or maybe into 2021 in the spring or something like that. So it's just something to realistically to think about for us.
And so, yeah, so that's all still up in the air. I mean, we were in conversations and technically still are in conversations with USC about the feasibility of that. However, as you all have seen, a lot of the events that were planned for the spring and the early summer have been pushed back to October. And so as it relates to us here in LA, there is, Coachella has been pushed back to October. Stagecoach has been pushed back to October. The Festival of Books the LA Times Festival of Books, which happens on USC's campus, has been pushed back to October. And so just in terms of the general dates of availability that we would typically be looking at in terms of doing it on USC's campus, a lot of those have, just been swapped up by, the larger things that are happening. And so it does put us into a corner. But again, no decision has been made. We're still in conversation with USC, but as you can imagine, the work from home situation has severely impacted just general communication. And so we will provide updates on that as soon as we get them. Dorothy is mentioning for those who are looking for opportunities in terms of work, she's suggesting to reach out to the chair of the freelance task force on the national level. That's Shanita Hubbard, ShanitaHubbard. Excuse me. She just got a job as a talent recruiter at Vice. And so they put together a webinar for freelancers a couple of weeks ago to address some of these concerns. You can, much like this particular webinar, you can go right now on NABJ.org and look at that freelancer webinar to see what type of, tricks of the trade that they provided in that particular webinar for the national level. But she's suggested to reach out to Shanita, and if you need her contact, you can hit up Dorothy directly. You can also hit me directly. I have her information as well, and we can, put you in contact with the different resources that might be of use to you.
I meant to say this a minute ago, and I don't think I did, but we've multiple times said you can reach out to us. A reminder that my email and Trevel's emails are both on the website as well. And if you go to our nabjla.com/about, you can see both of our email addresses. You're welcome to reach out to us to see how we can help about, helping find work, helping, get access to resources and stuff like that. And also one of the things that we wanted to talk about, well, I don't know if we'll do this now, but if there are things that you guys want to see, in the digital programming space that we're going to be doing here for a while, let us know what that is, how we can, be of service the best to all of you and your respective, in your respective work, and trying to find freelance opportunities and trying to find full-time or part-time work. Let us know what kind of programming we could do for you that will be most helpful. That we've done a lot of panels, obviously, that focus on various aspects of the industry. And we want to still try to continue to bring you that kind of programming. So let us know what things you guys need so we can best program.
I just want to address one of Sky's questions that she sent in. I sent her a message directly, but she was wondering about just seeing other people on the chat. If you've been paying attention or have seen any of the news reports on what has been termed Zoom bombing, there have been, and I think I've been told that it actually happened on one of the national webinars last week, maybe a couple weeks ago. But there have been, when links to certain webinars and chats like this have been shared publicly, whether in newsletters or whether on social media and stuff like that, there have been some not nice people logging in and, taking over the chats basically with improper activity, let's say. And so for that reason, we decided just to limit it to Jared, myself, and Kimberly. And I don't think Brittany, who's our new treasurer.
And also Kimberly's hair, just so we're clear about that.
Kimberly also is a newlywed. We would be able to celebrate her if we were in person. And so shout out, she's married now, And so, yeah, I just wanted to address that for, the folks that were asking publicly about that. I got your information, Manny. I will hit you up directly to get you that contact information. Yeah, I think that's if are there any more questions of things that we can address? For some of you who just jumped in, we did talk about the national convention is still being planned to occur. They're still proceeding as if it will occur at the original dates in July. They're assessing the situation with all of the necessary parties involved. And if there is a need to cancel, they will cancel. And we all will be provided as much, information as possible to pivot if necessary, and with enough time, I should say.
Also, for folks that are just getting in, if you missed anything, I'm gonna work with Arlene. Arlene, I'm not committing you to this without talking to you about it. But I'm gonna work with Arlene to get the recording of this video posted on the page for the use your words, Jarrett, on nabjla.org. If you go to our website, and the event for today, I'm gonna work on getting the link or the video embedded onto that page, and also maybe some of the resources that we talked about, putting links there. So give us a little bit of time to work that out. Myself or Arlene can work on that in the coming days so that you can check out what you might have missed in this meeting. I see Arlene, wherever she is, going like, oh, Jesus. But we'll work on it so that whatever you miss, you can have access to.
Manny, I think it's a great suggestion for us to all connect as much as possible on Twitter. And I mean, this was a separate note, but we're always trying to grow our social media presences and all of that good stuff. And so yeah, so we'll be sure to connect with you there as well. Anything else that I didn't say, y'all?
I think that's it. Guy says, Manny, some of the network affiliate news stations in Bakersfield have been seeking reporters. Kyle Harvey for one of the stations did a 2-part investigative series on me to use the real to bounce to a large city. So yes. All right, I think that's the general gist of things. If you guys have anything else for us, Keith says, out of curiosity, why was there a name change from BJASC to NABJLA? I'm one of the old school members and have been out of the loop. Keith, that happened.
I can answer that.
Huh?
I can answer that. Yeah. Well, shout out Keith. Thank you for re-engaging with us. So BJAS, just to broaden the conversation for others who aren't familiar, our former name as an organization was BJASC, the Black Journalists Association of Southern California. That's how we were founded. Ironically, 40 years ago this year. I believe it was in 2013 under that president and leadership that the organization switched from BJASC to NABJLA. And I think, to be quite frank, it was a financial, federal type situation where some of the whatever occurred with the folks who were over BJSC, that information lapsed federally. And so it's my understanding that the leadership of the organization in the 2013 frame just felt it was necessary to start from scratch. We're still, obviously connected with that organization, but in terms of taxes, in terms of all that type of information, the accountant that they were using at the time just suggested that we start from scratch in order to kind of sever ties. Additionally, what you will see is a lot of the local chapters that have either kind of reinvigorated or gotten started most recently. A lot of them now have the delineation of NABJ and then the city delineation attached to it, unless they're one of the older chapters. So that's the only particular reason, that's my understanding, I should say, of the reason why we are NABJLA now and not BJASC. But I just, prior to the whole coronavirus situation, I was actually in conversation with one of our founding mother, Valerie Jarrett. No, wrong person. Valerie, I forget her last name, forgive me. It's not Valerie Jarrett, though. But Valerie, and we were talking about ways that we as an organization could honor and pay homage to
Valerie Shaw, Lois.
Shaw, that's it. Thank you, Lois. Valerie Shaw, we were communicating via email back and forth about ways that we can, honor the founding members, founding presidents, founding fathers and mothers and persons. And so obviously a lot of that has been put on hold because we can't go outside or gather in groups of 10 or more. And so we definitely still, I hope, plan to figure out some way to put some things together for just to honor, the 40th anniversary of this particular organization. And so thank you so much for that question, Keith.
Any other questions before we kind of wrap up here? Looking in the Q&A and in the chat that you guys have going on. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Are there no more Q&As?
One more.
Oh, well, Dorothy has just a general question. How is everyone doing during this particular time? If you're interested in sharing, you can do so either via the chat function and we'll read it out, or the Q&A function. That's a really great question. And it will help us learn how to, support, different folks. Go ahead, Jared.
Lois did say in here something that I think her and I had actually spoken before about. Hopefully by the end of the year, we will, be able to, be in a room with other human beings. But we will hopefully maybe be able to kind of roll something for the anniversary into maybe our holiday party at the end of the year. If the summit is not able to happen, it's something that we can definitely talk about amongst the board and stuff like that. Keith Davis, Dorothy says that he's maintaining.
Which I understand.
Also, listen, completely, okay? Dorothy also asks, do you feel like your jobs are supporting you? I can tell you, I got laid off this week. And I think a lot of people are kind of understanding what that feels like because a lot of us are starting to experience that. If you're a freelancer, it's probably been more difficult to, find work or to be getting assignments and things like that. So, yeah, it says, Manny says, I'm okay as long as I got power, internet, and water, I'm good. I lived in Africa. Okay. And then John Higgins, Dr. John Paul on Twitter says, I'm maintaining, thankful for this space and thankful for the community you all provide. Also, thank you for the leads. That's really good to hear. Lacora says, ebbs and flows, talking to my mama and Nana helps me smile.
This is a good question, again, from our president, Dorothy. In terms of working the story, for those who are out there, still working, still covering, is management providing masks and gloves for you, protective gear for you? Are, for those of you who are still, working and doing the groundwork, how are your managers supporting you, if at all, during this? And if they're not, that's good information to know as well, in terms of, what support on the local level and nationally we might be able to support and provide to you all.
Sky's asking, is BJASC in a legal business position in which it can apply for these funds that the government is giving to companies impacted by the coronavirus disruption? A mixed answer there. So we don't have like an operating budget of like employees that we have to pay, every week or month or something like that. So we're probably not the best candidate to be applying for something like that, because we actually, we're very fortunate to have money from events that we've had and we're doing okay. Because we don't have any massive expenses. I mean, the expenses this month were we, bought into Zoom, and so that we could have that kind of a thing. Our space that we hold our meetings in is free and all that kind of stuff. So we're actually okay and don't necessarily need to apply for government assistance right now. So thank you for that question. Margot says that when the public thinks of people on the front lines of a crisis, journalists are often forgotten. We may not be directly helping with your healthcare, but getting this information to the public is important. To those still working, please stay safe. If you are someone that is kind of working out on the front lines and still reporting every day, if there is support that we can provide to you, please let us know what that is. We are here to support for you, to advocate for you, and help us all to get professional development. So if you feel like your organization or your company company is not supporting you or providing you with the things that you need, please let us know, and we can do what we can to either help you get those things or to reach out to your respective company to help you to get those things from them.
Tyra Majors mentioned they say they're in a small market. Their news organization isn't providing any of those materials. And they're assuming that because they're in a small market, it's perhaps because of lack of resources. I will say, just to give
us know where you are so we can try and see what we can do. But yeah,
I will say, just to give a shout out to Beverly White. I saw she posted some photos on, I think it was Facebook, maybe last week, of the apparatuses that, you know, folks are creating to still be able to like do the interviews, but do it from a distance. And so that is all great. It looks like that I can let a couple people talk. Is that what this option is giving me?
If you say chat?
Yes.
I think that's just sending a message directly. So it looks like Beverly waves, Dr. Kale Newhouse waves. Sky says, I've read stories about Asian journalists being verbally assaulted by passerbys in regards to the big C, coronavirus. What can we as a group do to be supportive of AAJA? We actually I haven't talked to someone from AAJA in a little while, but I do think that's a good question that we could maybe see how we can be supportive to them as an organization. I think that's a really good call. We do have a good relationship with AAJA and also NAHJ and CCNMA and LGJ. There's a lot of J's and A's, but we do have good relationships with all of them. So Sky, I think we can reach out to them this week and see how and if we can be supportive to them as an organization, but also as individuals. So thank you for that question.
Dr. Newhouse mentioned that she is a wonderful new sister from the San Diego chapter, mentioned that she's hosting several Zoom segments to discuss the CARES Act and Black businesses. If you can send us that information, we can put that in the newsletter so that, you know, folks know that you're, you know, providing that resource. Larry Leach mentioned, he's a professor, one of our new board members that I mentioned earlier. He says teaching online at home due to closed campus, it is quite different, but I've been able to entertain myself pretty good at home throughout the day to deal with the isolation. Black employee group at the college did a Zoom meeting and it was nice interaction. Ooh, they played Pictionary using screen share and the whiteboard feature on Zoom, where you're a lot more equipped at using this platform than I am. But that's good to know.
Also, Dorothy is saying, partially in response to Sky's question as well, that the national NABJ joined with other organizations to voice their support and is asking that we make sure to do that on the local level as well. Let's say, Ashley says, thanks for encouraging check-in. I'm on social at Ashley Small. For freelancers, I recommend looking into Upwork if you haven't already. Upwork, I believe, is Upwork.com, I want to say. It's also a place where they kind of like farm out work for people to do. Beverly says, good morning, y'all. My newsroom at NBC4 is providing gear, masks, guidance, and guidance for us in the field. Thanks for the mention, Travell.
And I will reach out to Ashley and Mariko and the folks over at AAJA LA to see, you know, what type of support they might need. I do know that like a lot of the local organizations just have been, you know, put on pause because of the nature of everything. And so I did also, so I have reached out to some of them just from a programming standpoint to see if there's some collaboration we can do with these kind of digital sessions. But I'll see if there's, you know, perhaps a statement of some sort or something like that that they're interested in working on and putting together.
Jana is saying that there's a weekly freelance list of opportunities that is free. She said she'll share it for the newsletter. I'll also try to make sure to put that into the post. Again, for anyone that's just joining and you missed some of the stuff that we discussed earlier, I'm going to work on getting this full video put into the website so that when you go click on this event, like you can click on any of the month's events that we've had, you click on digital check-in and this video will be there hopefully within the next 24 hours. And also put those resources that we're talking about. So Jana, if you could send that to me, I'll make sure to put that there as well.
And Lakora, I got your link to NYFA. I'm assuming it's NYFA, NYFA. And so we'll be able to provide that information as well to the people. Thank you for giving that to us. Quincy mentioned that there is a list on Study Hall. Study Hall is a platform, in case you're not familiar, that supports kind of freelancers and organizing and getting freelancers together. They are putting a list together. They have a list together of the different outlets that are accepting freelance pitches and the ones that aren't. And so that's another resource that we will make sure to put together in something to share with you all in terms of like navigating and like moving forward with all of this. I think Andy mentioned that she's been furloughed at her retail job, but her company is paying health insurance, and she's still working part-time for the city and freelancing. I will say, in terms of, I know of a lot of freelancers who have been like trying to do the pitching thing, and they've been getting a lot of responses from organizations that they are, their budgets have been frozen as it relates to, just a lack of advertisers are like pivoting in interesting ways. And so the money that was there to support freelancers just isn't there. So that's just kind of a heads up in terms of how things are looking out there. Dorothy sent a message. She's jumping off. Dorothy, our national president, she's jumping off. She's saying, just stay strong. As always, Dorothy is available. Dorothy Drew, the entire national board is available. If you've got questions or issues, you can find all of their information on NABJ.org to connect with them directly, cell phones. So they're another, resource as we all are going through this. Somebody...
Apparently, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just saying, please consider CARES is available to nonprofits inclusive of most of our community orgs. She suggests, this is Dr. K.L. Newhouse, this is related to Sky's question earlier about whether the organization qualifies for some of the relief funds that are being doled out. She's suggesting that we at least try to apply and let the people say no, if there is a no. Let's see here. NABJ media related members have a weekly virtual happy hour. Lots of tips and resources are shared during the call. Ron is going to send a note so that we can provide that information. You can apply for a grant if you have an LLC. That's what John Higgins says. We just to address this one more time, I think a couple more people asked it. What we are going to try to do is, this is, I don't really use Zoom much, at least not organizing things. And so we see a lot of people asking to like be able to just like see each other. We limited that because of like the Zoom bombing that has been taking place. And so we wanted this to kind of be a test for us. One, in terms of whether or not you all would tune in. And then also in terms of, and you did. Also in terms of, one, me learning the platform. And then now that we know that there is interest for things like this, we probably similarly can do something that allows everyone to like see each other and have kind of that interplay as well. So stay tuned for the newsletter for those, similar happy hours that you've seen, other entities doing, because it seems like that is something that you all want. And so I will learn how to use Zoom so that we are able to do that. Wonderfully. Let's see. I don't want to keep you all too long. I do just want to make sure that we get everyone. How many attendees participated in this check-in? We've had some people pop in and pop out. So it's been, I'd say it's probably even around 40-ish. Right now we're at 33 people. 36 total, including the three of us who you can see. And so there have been some people who've jumped in and popped out for a variety of different things. I'm sorry, Beverly. Beverly says, you mean I fixed my hair and face for nothing? I understand, Beverly. I put on this turban so y'all don't see what's going on here.
Baby.
So I definitely understand. Kimberly always looks like that, so she didn't really have to do any preparation.
Kimberly wakes up and goes on. Manny says, "This is a small boat. Will we be able to recognize the journalism students graduating this year who are unable to walk? If possible, I'd like to congratulate them." I think that's a great idea. We can talk with our collegiate chapters about how we could probably do something to at least honor and celebrate them from the organization. I think that's a good idea. So I will write that down and work on following up on that.
I'd just like to add, as it relates to that, as I mentioned earlier, we are doing a program, a digital program with our USC chapter. We're going to do a webinar with them that we were planning on doing as a physical event this month, but Corona. And so that will be an opportunity for us to connect with them about ways that we might be able to, further support them. And then I'll reach out to the other student chapters that we have in the area to see, what might be able to be done to support what's going on, because a lot of the graduations, I think all of the graduations have been canceled or postponed in terms of the ceremonies. And so that's definitely not cute.
LaCora is also spicy with you because she said, LaCora says, I tried to look cute for you jokers. Sorry, we'll work on that in the future.
My bad, y'all. They had me nervous about the Zoom bombings, and I was just like, oh, Lord, I can't have nobody throwing up no swastika or nothing on the Zoom. I wouldn't know what to do.
Before we're out of time, because again, we don't want to keep you all day, we normally wrap up with announcements. If anyone has announcements, please drop them into either the Q&A or the chat so that we can let people know what you're doing. Beverly says, as the field reporter still out here grinding, please pitch stories to a sister. So listen, if you got a story, you guys know how to reach Beverly. I believe that's beverly.white@nbcuni.com. Shoot her an email or text or call her if you guys have stories out there. Travell, should I shamelessly plug us?
You can do that in 1 second. I wanted to say that as an announcement, for those of you who are national members, I think starting Monday, there will be, you'll be getting information about the ballot in terms of the folks who are running for a variety of different positions. So stay tuned for that. They will have to figure out other ways to try to campaign this go around because of the corona. But that will be coming down from the national organization, I believe on Monday. So you'll be able to see who's running for the different regional representative positions, who's running for national, like vice president of print positions and things like that, in terms of that opportunity. Somebody mentioned, I'm encouraging you all to look into the chat box to see, the different Twitter handles that people are putting out there. As always, our NABJ Twitter handle is NABJLA official. So you can check us out there. We're also on Facebook. You can check us out, National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles, to just stay tuned with different updates and things like that. We want to give a welcome from Beverly White and from us as a chapter to Coco McAbey, I just butchered her name, but Miss Coco to Fox 11. She is I'm assuming this is a she. Yeah, she. Former NBC4 editorial assistant who circled back and landed a job at Fox. She most recently reported in Detroit. Mac a boy. Thank you, Beverly, because you knew I was gonna mess it up. So shout out to her. We do want to, for the folks that are celebrating landing jobs, it is happening during this time, even though there are a lot of layoffs and things like that. We want to celebrate you. We want to support you, all of that good stuff. So please do send us that information so that we could, put that into the newsletters and all of that.
Also really important, and I'm glad that Jana mentioned this as well. Jana, excuse me. It is census time. If you have not filled out the census day was on April 1st, but the census continues over the course of a number of weeks, or excuse me, a number of months. They've not done what I believe would be a good job of marketing it, but it is incredibly important, especially for Black and brown folks. Black people tend to be one of the most underreported groups in the census. So if you have a census, I actually have mine right here. If you have your census form that came in the mail, you can go to census.gov to fill out the census. It's incredibly important that you do that. If you're not familiar with how the census works, the census basically counts every person in the United States, whether they are citizens or not, and sees where people live so that we can have federal funding that goes to those different spaces. Again, Black and brown folks, Black men specifically, are the most underreported group. And when you don't report, like, federal funding can't go your direction, that has impact on, the services in those areas, the hospitals, the fire departments, the federal funding for programs and nonprofit organizations and all kinds of different things. So make sure you go to the census. It only takes a couple of minutes to fill it out. If you're also, there was a lot of conversation this year or in the past couple of years about immigrants filling out the census and being concerned about a citizenship question. That is not a part of the census, and it is, the Census Department is doing everything it can to keep that information safe. So I just want to remind people of that.
Other announcements, we have Dr. K. Can I call you Dr. K? I'm going to call you Dr. K. She mentions again that she'll be hosting a digital panel with some industry producer associates. Stay tuned for more information that we'll put into the newsletter. Some confirmed guests include producers from OWN, the Steve Harvey's company, Blackish, etc. She says it might be good for anyone looking to get hired or connect with the industry's Black producers. Sky mentions that there is, for the folks who know Bob Reed is a former NABJLA president and former president, I believe, of NABJ nationally, perhaps. He's back from running the Africa channel for some time back into the local area. So that's wonderful. Let's see here. Sorry for typos. Got it. If you're
Productions was saying that they're hosting, it's moved over now. Saying that they're hosting a series of.
I did that one.
Oh, you did that already. Just kidding. Never mind.
Sky also mentioned if you're bilingual and you work, I guess, for the census, they pay an extra $10 an hour. That's interesting. And so, yeah, any other, Manny is dropping some resource or some work that he's done over at Medium into the chat. So make sure you all check that out. I know you're recording our meeting, but what about the chat? Any way to download the chat? I don't know, but I will figure it out. Andy?
We can save it. I see that feature here. I don't know if we can post it. I will do my best, if we can post it, to put it again in the event so that when you go to nabjla.com or .org and click on this month's event, the video and some of the resources that we talked about will be there. Again, not sure if I can put the chat in there, but if I can, I will.
LaCora, you mentioned that you're writing a book and you need some guidance. We actually did a really great session with Nancy Red at our summit last year about writing books, and so perhaps that's something for us to incorporate into one of the digital webinars. So thank you for that. We'll see how we can incorporate that.
I see Lois has put something in here called Fanti. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I think that has something to do with our pod. As you know, Travell and I have a new podcast that is available right now. We've been doing episodes every week. And this week's episode was about Black barbershops. If you're not familiar with the show, Fanti is about being a fan and being anti. About some things that we love that we have complicated relationships to. And so you can check out our podcast wherever you get your podcast. This week's was about Black barbershops. Last week's, I think my favorite episode that we've ever done was last week about the Black church and being Black, queer, and Christian and the conflicts that come along with that. So thank you for that shout out, Lois. So that
another kind of NABJLA congrats to, this comes from Beverly White, to Anita Bennett, longtime member. She is now reporting for the Black News Channel. So congrats to her. I think that's, wait, there's two more. Okay, yes, I think that's it. Again, we want to thank you all. We don't want to hold y'all up too much. Shar has a write-up on Angelica Ross coming Monday on Zora. which is one of the Medium publications, and a feature in Obvious Mag Monday as well. So Char's been working, okay, honey. We love to see it. Char's one of our new board members, again, that I mentioned at the beginning of the call. You can check out all of those folks' information on our website, nabjla.org. Again, subscribe to the newsletter, follow us on all the socials for any updates. We're gonna put together some happy hour things where we can all see each other and communicate. It'll be a lot more frequent than our typical meetings because we all need to see people's faces and talk in this trying time. And so please stay tuned for that. Again, if you've been negatively impacted, please reach out to us, reach out to the national organization so we can figure out how we can support you. Let us know anything. If you have ideas for different webinars that we could do that you're interested in, let us know. We'll piece it together. Who writes at Zora? That was Char, whoever asked for that. I will say for those who are interested in trying to pitch to some of the Medium publications, I do know that some of the money has been put on hold over there, but you can just Google and they give you the different emails and stuff that you can use to pitch. And so, the voter registration deadline, vote. That is which we all should be doing. Thank you, Dr. K, for all that. With that being said, again, thank you all so much for joining us, and let me know if there is, again, anything that we can do for you all. With that being said, anything else, Kimberly or Jared?
That's all for me. I'm really happy so many of you all attended, and hopefully we can continue to bring you valuable information and programming through the age of the Rona, and hopefully we can support you all in the best ways that we can. Please reach out to us if you need anything. Again, our emails are listed on the website. If you go to nabjla.org/about, my email and Trevel's emails are both listed there beneath our bios. We thank you all for tuning in. That does it for me and for the person that lives above Trevel.
Y'all can hear that? Listen, that is moving or something. Anyway, thank you all so much. We will be connecting later. Be blessed, slay on, all of that good stuff. Bye.